Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 575 to 576 for the 21st to the 22nd of September. Let's start off with the breaking news, which is the Ukrainian missile strike on the Black Sea Fleet. And 4 Sukhoi 24M from this report by Ryber actually launched 7 Storm Shadow cruise missiles, and of these 7, actually 4 was intercepted, and however 3 actually made it through and managed to hit the general staff of building of the Black Sea Fleet, basically the headquarters. And the video has went viral, and basically the building is utterly destroyed as far as I can tell. And so other than that, there's nothing much else to really talk about. It's not very meaningful about the Crimean area. And I'll move on to the Zaporizhzhia front. This is Zaporizhzhia, and at the Zaporizhzhia front at the Orikhiv sector, the Ukrainian forces continue their offensive over in the Robotine Verbove region, with the Ukrainian forces trying to attack towards Novoprokopivka as well as towards Verbove, and also towards the southwestern part of Verbove. Information of these offensives coming from Deep State UA from the south of Robotine. This is reported on the 21st, and from the 21st to 22nd, the talk is mostly towards about going towards Novoprokopivka, and this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry, Deep State UA, Marashnikov, and Ryber. And so far, the offensive is still ongoing. There is also active counterattack from the Russian side, and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported on the 21st that the Russians are attacking on the 21st, and then they repeated the same information on the 22nd. And so Dnipro actually mentioned more. They say that the Russian infantry is trying hard to gain a foothold in the fortified area south of Robotine. And they also say that this is not the first time, which we are also aware of, because as we can see that it's 18 to 22nd. This counter-offensive by the Russians has been ongoing for 4 days already. And according to Dnipro, they also mentioned further about how there is a lot of Russian dead, including the usage of a T-62 tank. And they say that based on this tank that was destroyed means that the attack is actually mostly by mobilized troops and not really by their airborne forces. So they say that this is going to be a continuation. This will continue as far as they can tell. And the Ukrainian Defense Ministry also mentioned that very weird information. They say that there's an enemy attack in the area of Robotine and Verbove. And somehow there was this, to the extent permitted to the provision of this convention. Secretary General of the United States of America and the United States of our defenders continue to hold the line on occupied frontiers. And this translation, I'm quite sure it's not exactly wrong, because it looks really specific, but somehow it looks really weird. I'm not sure what it means. Do you know what it means? Do comments below and let me know what the hell is this about. This really from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's report, and I don't understand that. There is geolocation of Ukrainian forces basically over at this position, and as well as this position at Robotine. So it shows that the Ukrainians are still in this area here, but the information of the Russian, there's also one geolocation of Russian tank around here, which shows that the front line is pretty much where we have drawn this. This is where the front line is, with the Russians are actively trying to counterattack to recapture this fortification over in the southwestern part of Robotine. And over at the Verbove region, there is further geolocations of Ukrainian forces in this position. This field position also shows that the Russian forces still managed to hold this tree line around here. The Ukrainians have not managed to break through just yet. And there is, of course, further previous footages on geolocation of Ukrainian forces are trying to attack this position here, but they haven't managed to capture it as far as we can tell. And the main thing is for the Ukrainians in this area, because they are unable to break through towards Verbove, they're going to go southward, and so they can't push through here, so they actually swing down and continue to move downwards to where the least resistance is. And but to say there is no resistance is not true. There is still a lot of resistance from the Russian forces, but the front line has indeed changed, with the Ukrainian forces captured this tree line here, and they have made some progress, and their plan is still to continue to progress downwards. And in this area here, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, of course, the same weird report. They say that the Russians were counterattacking at Verbove, but most of the information suggests that it's mainly the Ukrainians that are actually doing the attacking. Russian Defense Ministry, Deep State UA, and Ryba all talked about the Ukrainians attacking Verbove. Deep State UA actually reported a somewhat weird way of writing. They say that in the area south of Novoporovska, where heavy upcoming battles continue, updated in their mapping. And this is Novoporovska. In the south, this is south. And we do not have any fighting in this area here, or at least the even in their own mapping, it didn't really go to the south of Novoporovska. So it's kind of weird. So I think that it's maybe in the just north of Verbove, maybe in this area here is what they are trying to say. And so this is the south of Novoporovska. I think this is exactly what it is. And there is also on the 21st of September, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry say that the Russians attacked in the area of Malatomashka. This is Malatomashka. So to fight in the area probably means that the fighting is actually kind of west of or southwest of Novoporovska. But this is only mentioned one day, only on the 21st. So probably it's just a skirmish or something, nothing very significant. We move on from the Orikhiv sector into the Velika Novosilka sector. At the Velika Novosilka sector, the fighting continues in the northern part of Prione, with the Russian Defense Ministry on the 21st of September reported that the Ukrainians attacked close to Prione. However, they also mentioned on the 22nd that they are actually on the attack with the support of airstrike and artillery strike against Ukrainian clusters of manpower and hardware near Prione. So 21st, the Ukrainians were attacking Prione, and then on the 22nd, the Russians counterattack. And but the counterattack is mainly more towards firing, doing fire missions rather than to do assault to capture ground. So there's a kind of difference in terms of the attack. The attack is just to destroy enemy manpower and equipments rather than to capture ground. So the kind of different kind of attack. Over on the Staromayoske region, this Staromayoske, there is reports or the same report of the Russian forces attacking Ukrainian forces through fire missions. So the Russians are holding the line and they are actually striking Ukrainian forces from afar. So this is another one. The same report also mentioned Novodonetsk. This is the same report, and this is all happening on the 22nd of September, and this is actually in the Donetsk front already. However, at the Novodonetsk, okay, this is actually old information. This is actually 20th already. Over at Novomayoske, so previously we have this major offensive from the Ukrainian forces trying to capture Novodonetsk and Novomayoske, where this major attack I have mentioned quite a few times. And in the last report I mentioned that it seems like it has been abandoned. And this time round, we have corroboration from Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source, reporting that the defense forces, which is referring to the Ukrainian forces, are unable to gain a foothold around Novomayoske, and the attempt to go around the low grounds also had failed. So basically, they have acknowledged that these two towns, Novodonetsk and Novomayoske, is a real cursed village for them. So the Ukrainians actually put in so much effort into trying to take these two towns, and they lost a lot of manpower and a lot of equipments as well, like tanks, armored vehicles. So this is a very, very huge failure for the Ukrainians, I would say. So moving on, at the Mykolaiv, the Voleda region, there is a geolocation of Ukrainian forces by Crimea over on the eastern part of Voleda. So So given the geolocation over here, we managed to tone down the Russian front line. Previously, it was a bit more ambitious, about looks like something like this. We have now moved it backwards to reflect this geolocation of these Ukrainian forces. And there is also reports from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry about a Russian attack in the area of Mikhailsk on the 21st of September. Again, this is like a one-off thing. It was not reported on the 22nd. So yeah, so it's not the thing that is we should be worried or concerned about in the like, you know, like a big offensive. Is just not yet. Over at the Marinka region, Marinka sector, at Marinka, the fighting continues, with the Russians continue to be reportedly attacking Marinka region from the 21st to 22nd, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The Russian Defense Ministry reported Ukrainian counterattack on the 22nd of September, and so that's about it. The fighting still ongoing, with the Ukrainians very impressively still managed to hold this final section of Marinka, with the Russians still unable to capture this little ground left in this flattened village. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry also mentioned very interesting thing about fighting over at Krasnohorivka region. So the Krasnohorivka, these are very huge stronghold, and the Russians are attacking this area here from 21st to 22nd. So, but not sure exactly where the factor of attack come from. Is it from the north or in the south? It's kind of unclear. And however, there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces attacked by drones, suicide drones. So over this position, so there is maybe the attack is just simply the drone attacks. It's not really a ground offensive. So there's very hard to tell what the Ukrainian Defense Ministry is trying to say. We move on to the Avdiivka front. This is the Avdiivka front. At the Avdiivka front, there is fighting reported at Zhivany on the 22nd of September, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, with the Russians attacking Zhivany. And the Russians, however, reported that it is the Ukrainians that is attacking Vodian. So the Ukrainians are reportedly attacking Vodian, while the Russians are supposedly attacking Zhivany. So most likely there's a clash of forces between the two sides, and both sides think that the other side is attacking. Most likely this is what is happening. And the Ukrainian Defense Ministry also reported about Russians attacking in the area of Avdiivka. So this is Avdiivka city. This is Avdiivka city, and the Russians are attacking somewhere. No, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here. Not sure. The Ukrainians just say that there's fighting in the area of Avdiivka. Whereas on the 21st, so this on the 22nd. On the 21st, the Russians say there is fighting near Khimik. Khimik is this district around here of Avdiivka, this Khimik. So there's fighting reported in the area here. So I'm not sure exactly where this is referring to. Maybe it's Opitne, just over here, maybe this area here. As the Russian Defense Ministry never actually reported about the Ukrainian offensive at Opitne. All the reports from the Russian Defense Ministry all say Khimik. They are all referring to Khimik. So yeah, they always say that the fighting is around here. So let's see how this goes. And moving on further up north, the Russian Defense Ministry also reported fighting over at Vasily as well. Yeah, only Vasily. So Vasily is actually this little town here that is not marked on the Google Maps, and the Ukrainians are attacking Vasily. But this is only one day, so most likely this from 20th to 21st. On the 22nd, there's no longer enemy reports of the fighting at Vasily. So I think that's about it for this offensive operation from the Ukrainian side against Vasily. And that's it from the Avdiivka front. We move on to the Bakhmut front. So this is Bakhmut city. At the Bakhmut front in the southern part, there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces over near Mayosk at this position. So this just helps to confirm that the Ukrainians do have this position here, but we do have a previous geolocation that is around here, so this is way more advanced. And we do know that the Russians still hold Mayos, and the Ukrainians are definitely still plotting to see how they can capture Mayos. And over up in the Kupyansk region, there is reports from Russian Defense Ministry and Myroshnikov, which is a pro-Ukrainian source, reporting about the Ukrainians attacking Kupyansk on the 21st of September. And So the fighting is still ongoing. The Ukrainians are still trying to break through. There is no indication of the Ukrainians inside Kupyansk just yet. So we will continue to monitor to see how this goes. And however, there is Russians, counter-attacking at Andriivka. So Ukrainian Defense Ministry and Marinka both reported that the Russians are trying to retake the flattened mud flat of Andriivka. So the Russians are attacking in multiple directions. So as per previous reports that we have seen, and so far there is no success for the Russians. And so let's go on. And but further up north, we have geolocation of Ukrainian forces in the southeastern part of Klishchiivka, or northern part of Andriivka. So Ukrainian forces have actually reached here, and finally they managed to break down this tree line and have this grounding around here. So this is going to be problematic for the Russians, because this will allow the Ukrainians to actually establish a very easy defense line around this area. Then they can actually focus around here, and then they can focus the attack from the other side. So they can actually hold a good defense in this position. So that's the geolocation. At Klishchiivka itself, the Russians still continue to be reported to be counter-attacking to recapture Klishchiivka. Deep State UA and Marinka both reported that the fighting is at Klishchiivka, with Russians trying to counter-attack. However, the main trend seems to be still the Ukrainians are trying to clear Klishchiivka. Russian Defense Ministry reported on the 21st of September that they are attacked by Ukrainian forces. As far as I am concerned, Klishchiivka is still not very safe, despite the Ukrainians have technically captured it, but in reality they cannot really use the village because it's still pretty much the front line. Further up north, there is in the north of Klishchiivka, Studio Maps reported Ukrainians captured some ground around here, which means that the Ukrainians are attacking in the northern part of Klishchiivka as well. The main idea nowadays in the fighting at Klishchiivka is actually to capture this entire railway line, to use it as the defense line. So the railway line is actually pretty long. It looks something like this, and the Ukrainians are trying to push out and capture this railway line, which the Russians currently is using it as a defense line tentatively, and the Ukrainians are finding a lot of problems trying to break through. Over in the southeastern part of Bakhmut, Marinka, the pro-Ukrainian source, reported something very bullish. They say that the Ukrainian forces are attacking in the direction of Opitne as well as Mariupol Cemetery. So the Mariupol Cemetery is no, it's not there, it's here. The Mariupol Cemetery, this area here in the south of Bakhmut city, and Opitne is over here. So he reported that the Ukrainian forces is actually attacking in this direction towards the south of Bakhmut. I'm not sure how big is the progress. So far, Marinka is the only one that talks about this, and Marinka's record is not too bad, so we can continue to monitor and see. So far, they don't have some major invalidations, but of course, also not always 100% correct. And because the lack of mapping and imaging from his channel, it's very hard to tell exactly what he's trying to say at times. Over at the northern flank of the Bakhmut front, we have geolocation of Ukrainian forces in those two locations by Creamy Caprice, and these two locations does help us to refine our front line, which means that the Ukrainian forces indeed have a very, very strong control of Kromove. Then there is a report of Russians attacking near Bakhmut by Deep State UA on the 22nd of September, as well as fighting at northeastern part of Zaporizhzhia, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. There's further Russian offensive being reported near Minkivka, near Orikovo-Vasilievka, as well as Zalynyansky. Information from various sources, from Deep State UA to Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and if you look at it, it looks as if like the Russians have launched some kind of a big offensive. Oh, wrong arrow. Big offensive in this area here, and I'm not sure if this is the case. But these are all coming from different sources of information. Deep State UA, Ukrainian Defense Ministry, this Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and Deep State UA. So if you think that the Ukrainians are very trustworthy, and then maybe this is exactly what is happening, that the Russians are indeed trying to destroy the dock over here. If you're wondering what's the dock, this is the dock. There's a dock here, and then yeah, this is a dock. So anyway, moving on. At the Siversk front, there is this Siversk. At the Siversk front, there is fighting reported near Shepelivka. Shepelivka is actually here. So the Russian Defense Ministry made a very weird report. They say that they repelled an attack near Shepelivka, and which means the Ukrainians are attacking in this direction, if that is what to believe, but not too sure. And the Russian Defense Ministry also reported that there is fighting near Kryhorivka, which is here. So I wonder if this is what is being reported. I'm not too sure. Feels a bit awkward. Moving on, there is actually no clear reports of any fighting within the Serbiansky forestry. What we do have is actually the Russian Defense Ministry on the 21st of September reported about the Ukrainians attacking Dibrova. And then that's about it from the Crimea front. And so this Crimea front. And so the fighting here seems to die down a bit. We do have these reports at Shepelivka and Kryhorivka, and I'm not sure this Kryhorivka is talking about along the river here, or is it north of the river, in the forest region. So a lot of unclear situation around this Crimea front. We move further up north to the Svatove front. At the Svatove front, we have some geolocation around the Novoyehorivka region. There is geolocation of Ukrainian forces over here, which help us change the front line around here, just west of Kamyzinivka. And there is also a geolocation of Russians attacking this tree line by Crimea Caprice. So the Russian forces in the video was attacking with armored vehicles against Ukrainian positions along this tree line, and then the Russian forces actually landed infantry to do assault on the tree line. So Ukrainian forces are defending this tree line with even tank, with a Russian tank in support. It's unclear what's the result of this assault. And so this is still where the front line currently is for this region north of Novoyehorivka. And there is geolocation at Nadia by Crimea Caprice to continue to assert that Ukrainian forces have positions in Nadia. And further up north, over at the Mesuzarivka, there is fighting reported over here. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that the Zaporizhzhia forces, with the support of Air Force and artillery, did some fire missions on the Ukrainians at Mesuzarivka. And there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces in this position. This geolocation particularly is actually a Ukrainian Leopard tank. And this Leopard tank looks like it's already abandoned, but it was hit by a Lancet, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Lancet, hit by a Lancet. So to utterly destroy this Leopard tank, to make sure that it cannot be recovered, repaired, and bring back to the front line again. But it also shows that the Ukrainians are actually here. So the Russians are definitely nowhere close just yet. Moving on, further up north, we have geolocation of Ukrainian forces by Crimea Caprice on the 21st of September at this position. Continue to show that the Ukrainians have positions within Novoselivsky. And so the previous geolocation was here. So the Russians probably still have positions within Novoselivsky, and they are probably holding this tree line in the south. And the Ukrainians are probably holding defense, while the reports from the Russian Defense Ministry shows that they are doing fire missions against the Ukrainian forces. So they are actually attacking the Ukrainian forces. So that's it from Novoselivsky. There is some fighting near Berestove as well in the same report that talks about fighting at the Mesuzarivka. Mesuzarivka, the Russian name is actually Artyomovka. So the Russians are attacking here as well. So yeah, so that's it from the Svatove front. So it's just skirmishes, It's not some big offensive, so don't worry about it. You will sleep and then you will forget about it. Yeah, I mean, you already forgotten about it, right? No. Moving on to the Kupyansk front. This is Kupyansk and this is Kupyansk front. At the Kupyansk front, there is some reports of fighting at Ivanivska. This is the same report as the one that we just mentioned at Berestove. And over at Sinkivka, this is where more concerns are. There is continued offensive by the Russians in the Sinkivka region. Fighting continued to be reported on the 21st to the 22nd. All this started on the 19th. So the Russians seems to be attacking, and this time around the reports, instead of coming from the Ukrainians, are coming from the Russian Defense Ministry. So they continue to hit targets within Sinkivka, and this can be shown by a geolocation of a video showing the Russians shelling Ukrainian positions within the town of Sinkivka. But also that shows that the Ukrainians are still inside. So this geolocation actually corroborates the statement coming out from the Russian Defense Ministry. So Russian Defense Ministry is not lying. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, so that's it from the Kupyansk front, and that's it for the summary for the day of 575 to 576 for the 21st to 22nd of September. Do press the like button. Please press the like button, and subscribe if you are new to this channel, and I'll see you in the next update.